That stuff matters, carved in stone. Every stitch and every tone. Living, loving, grinding through all the nerdy things we do.
What's up, guys? Welcome to That Stuff Matters, your small town podcast, your big time conversations, small town grit podcast. And we're talking about things in our community, the stuff I do around here. It's just a mix of things, and we're so glad you join us weekly for this little shindig. It's been an unbelievable ride so far, and I hope we're bringing you content that is pertinent to the community and helpful to the community, and things that are, in my opinion, they need to be heard, they need to be visible. Just imagine the impact we can have as a community, and make changes in the things that we need and the things that we see fit. So you guys have poured on help so far, and I want to first say thank you, because we officially did reach our goal for the football team. That was a random problem that we saw in the community. It was something I just overheard someone talking about, how equipment was outdated, and the school, the team, the organizations, we didn't all have enough money to kind of give the boys what they needed. And this is a equipment that not only our high school team is going to be able to use, but middle school is going to be able to use that. The little league's going to be able to use that. And stuff is expensive. It really is. But you guys poured on support, and I think we are going to order that equipment hopefully this week, because as a group, among all you guys that either shared the content or talked about it, the people that donated, and I will try to put a list together and really give you guys thanks. There are some organizations that made big donations, specifically to the Booster Club, the Little League football organization, and Quarterback Club. It just made it all possible with a bunch of awesome people, donors that really cared about the community. And it was just, again, one person saw a problem and just said, okay, let's break this down. Let's break it down into edible parts. What can we achieve? So you got to start with an idea, and then you actually start to put together some sort of plan for action. And this is just how you approach anything in life. So if you want to go talk to a bank, you want to go, help whatever little corner lot in town you see that needs it, you start with a plan. And we had a goal for what we wanted to purchase, what that amount was, and then now realistically, how many people do I need to collect money from and what amounts? And then with that in mind, you just hit the street and you give a presentation of your idea to people, and the people that feel it's important will support you. And that's how we raised, I don't have an exact total right now, but I believe we're close to about $14,000. And again, I hate that everything's so expensive, but hey, nothing's getting cheaper. So we all got to come together and figure it out. And in this instance, you guys did. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Actually, hold on. I got it right over here. Thank you guys. That means the world. And that's just, an example of what you can do, anyone can do, with a random idea. If you're willing to kind of hit the ground running, and if you got to be okay with hearing no, and a no doesn't mean they don't support you. It just means that, they can't, give right now, but they might be able to support you in other ways. They may be able to talk about it, share about it. That stuff matters, because as you put stuff out in the world, your message is only going to get so far every time you put it out there. And you have to keep, putting your message out and keep putting your message out. And you never know when that message will be heard by the person who can really help, the person who has the connections you need to get what you'd like. So you just never know. You got to keep grinding. And as an example, it brings me to our community. And this week, or last week, let's start there. We had on City Council member Jordan Clements, and I wanted that to be an opportunity for people who maybe don't know Jordan to get to know him a little better. Great guy, great guy. Really has a heart of gold, wants to help people, but it's possible that maybe one time when you come across him, you feel like he seems unapproachable, or maybe in some random interaction, you didn't know him, so you were kind of standoffish, and that's kind of one thing that I hope this podcast can do is kind of bring those people to light, and let you see these are the people that are in the community working for you, and how you can just reach out to them and talk. So that was awesome. And in continuing with the city governance aspect from last week, um, Brookfield has a newly appointed city manager. And we are in a fortunate position where our previous city manager, Dana Tarpening, who's worked over 40 years for the city, thank you, Dana. She's having a transition period where, her last day, I believe, is through September. And Brandon Roberts, who the city council appointed. So the city council took applications, they interviewed people, and they selected this position. That's how that works. So we, um, the city of Brookfield, you elect city council members. Those city council members make decisions on your behalf for things that you need, that the town needs. And they appointed, selected Brandon Roberts. And I, because I know Jordan well, I had just said, hey, is there any way you can ask Brandon if he'd be willing to come on the podcast? And let me just, before I continue, I'm a nobody. I'm a nobody. I was born here, and the community means a lot to me, because I just think wherever you live, you should give back to your community and try to improve it. Um, Help people when you can. It's your responsibility. If you're able, then it's your responsibility to help. Otherwise, what are we here for? So I reached out to him, and as a nobody, you don't know, is he going to have any interest? And I want to thank you guys, the viewers that are tuning into this, because without you, I wouldn't be able to talk and sit down with these cool people and really get to know them, and um, put their story out there for you all. So thank you. Um, it's the podcast is just growing, and I would say in the last 60 days, just through Facebook, just if we're just looking at Facebook statistics, you guys have poured in, over 500,000 views on the content that I've been sharing, and thank you so much. YouTube, we've got well over 1,000 hours of watch content. On Spotify, we're right about that mark too. And TikTok, we get, you know, I haven't ran the numbers there, but you've got, again, hundreds of thousands of views. So it's because of you that we actually get to keep doing this, and sit down with people that are important. So again, I'm nobody, but you guys are fantastic, and that support will continue us getting to do this. And when I asked Brandon, or asked Jordan if Brandon would be interested, it was like really quick. He popped back and said, yeah, he would be happy to do that. And I think that's a testament to, in so far my interactions with Brandon, the type of guy that he is, very open. And I think it'll make sense when we talk about his background, but very open and approachable. And if there's an issue that you feel is warranted, he's more than willing to listen. How cool is that? That's exactly what you would want from, your, officials that are controlling certain aspects of your life as far as the town and the community that you live in. So he was very open and excited, and we set up a time. Um, and he came in and we recorded a great episode. And um, we had a blast. And he walked out, and um, I got pulled away on a large file that I was working, and my computer just said, nope. And it crashed before I even saved the audio file. So I was like, oh, great. My first interaction with the guy, we had a good conversation, and now I got to ask him, hey, can you come back and can we redo that? And you know what? He, without a missing a beat, said, yeah, that's no problem. And we set up another date, and he came back in, and we were able to talk about him as a person and his experience. He has worked extensively through fire departments, through Lake Ozark. There's my buddy Jared. Extensively through Lake Ozark. He worked in Kansas City, and I mean, a big background in firefighting. And his most recent position has been director of Sunshine Law Outreach through the Missouri Attorney General's office, and just has a really extensive background as well in the history of, like the way government operates and the way that there are requirements for how they conduct the business, how they let community in, and that everything is visible. So it's really unique. And um, man, it was cool that he was so willing and open to come in and talk about this stuff, about him as a person. And you know, other than he's a Jayhawk fan, great guy, great guy. And we were able to kind of dive into some other things, though, that I know is probably going to be more important to you guys, the viewers and the listeners, about our community. And he's been here not even a full month, but he has, I'm sure, probably even selling it short, been flooded with people with concerns already. And the concerns are often the same for our area. When you take a stroll, and let's just be honest, let's be real and talk about some of the problems you see with Brookfield, with our community. Because unless you put the problems out in the forefront, you're never going to fix them. You're never going to improve. And I want you to keep in mind, we go back to our episode with Niall Thudium, and we have to have a they is us mentality. We can't ask Brandon Roberts to fix our problems. He can direct it. He can guide us. He can help pull in resources. He can help find different avenues, but it's not one person that's going to fix what we see wrong with our community. And for the most part, this podcast has been overwhelmingly positive, and you guys are fantastic. With that being said, keep in mind, anytime you do something in life, if you put yourself out there, if you start talking about things, there are going to be people who have a different view. They have a different viewpoint of the community, and their experiences have led them to a different opinion than what you have. And that's okay. But what's not okay is to just say, no, I don't like that place. That place was never good to me. I didn't have a good experience there. I don't even care if it exists. Because there are people like that. There are people that hate the town that they came from. There are people that hate this town. And while that hurts my heart that they didn't have a good experience here, I certainly have empathy for them that maybe those experiences did warrant their opinion. Now, that does not mean that we should not work to change how we see and how our kids will see and how our grandkids will see this community. I mean, it just doesn't make sense if you just say you hate somewhere and then that's where you let it stop. So when you drive through Brookfield, what are the things that you see that bother you? What are the things that you experience in the town that bother you? And I think at the forefront of what you hear from most people is the the view of Brookfield in certain areas is has been neglected, and it's called blight, and it is, you know, decaying buildings, vacant lots, property neglect, and those things are apparent if you drive around, and there are things that need work. Now, again, I want to combat that with there has also been an abundance of new, updated, beautifying projects that are here in town, that have happened here in town and are still happening. I see people redoing their little, parts of the world almost weekly. And I know there are new businesses coming to town. There are people that have contacted me that are looking for buildings to open new businesses here in town. There are things on the verge of happening, I feel, but that does not change that when you drive down the street, you will see things that need work. And as a community, you can't just become angry and see something that bothers you that looks, you know, in your opinion, ugly or run down or what we hope not is unsafe. And you can't just show up at a council meeting and just complain and demand it be fixed because there is a process to these things. There are laws, there are just good human um, like principles and ways that you should approach people because sometimes a neglected area is neglected because the person who owns that for whatever reason does not have the means to make the immediate change necessary. And it becomes really tough, and how do you approach those things? So, that in my discussions with Brandon was, what he has heard so far is, you know, a big priority and things that people would like to see. You want to drive through your town and feel like it's a beautiful town and um, it's welcoming and there are, new businesses and buildings and things are freshly painted and it's vibrant and there's a lot of greenery and parks and but that just doesn't happen overnight. And the city doesn't have some unlimited budget to implement all those things. So it boils down to, again, community, us, they is us, getting involved. And it was interesting to hear Brandon's viewpoint on that. And while he totally will start the conversation with it, we can't just snap our fingers and fix it. He did have some really cool ideas, and you'll get to hear about it. And he'll kind of break it down, but like workshops, and maybe you can show up and make a plan, build a plan, just like I had started this episode when I told you, if you have an idea, there's a problem, you don't just talk about the problem. You recognize it. You say, yeah, there is a problem. Here's how we fix it. Here's our proposed approach. And he wants to do that through some workshops and bring in community members. And that way, when you go to a council meeting, all right, now we've already discussed this with a committee, and here's how we think we can make a change. Here's how we can make a change and either reduce the impact on the owner of that property or help that owner, or there free avenues of people that can help, that it can be a win-win for both parties. And if not, then you have to look at the codes of the town and how do you change those codes, and then how do you properly enforce those. And I am no expert on you know the city governance and those little details. So again, I'm a nobody, but I really want to help. I want to help make an impact in the community. And if I share a TikTok and I am talking about a place that I love and the town, and then I read that someone doesn't have that same opinion and they don't have that same viewpoint. Again, that's perfectly fine. But in my heart, I just read that and I go, oh man, I hate they experience that. But how can I fix that for the next person? How can I get people involved so that doesn't happen? Because I know there are good people here. I know that in our schools there are good people, in the businesses there are good people, in the organizations there are good people. And ultimately, I would consider the culmination of all of that is great. You can only pour so much good into a bowl before it becomes great. And I just I hope we can change. I hope we can change it for the better. And if everyone keeps, volunteering and working, if we all commit to making the community better, who knows? Who knows what it'll look like around here? Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. There are other things we could talk about the town and, maybe how you've experienced it. And I think sometimes when you have an issue and you approach someone, maybe you feel like you're shut off or disregarded. And always keep in mind that you don't know the full reasoning for how a organization or a person handles your interaction. Maybe they're having a bad day. Maybe they're dealing with a bunch of problems we don't know about. Maybe there is red tape that they can't just fix your issue. And anywhere you go, I think it seems cliquey sometimes, and there are groups of people that maybe you feel like, I just can't be a part of. I can't get into that. And I'm here to tell you that these places are not turning away help. So if you approach people with kindness and you have a good heart and you want to make an impact and you want to make change, people aren't going to turn you away. It's not going to happen. And I think that's at the end of the day, this episode is a good representation of that through Brandon, and that he is a big service-driven individual. And again, I've only met the guy a handful of times, but thus far, I've seen nothing but positive ideas, excitement for the community. And sometimes, a little change is good. It's a good thing. So I'm pretty excited about this episode. I hope you guys watch it. I hope you guys listen, throw it in your headphones somewhere. But even better, share it. Share the episode. Put it in places where people can hear the message. Put it in places where negativity spreads, and just see if we can make a change. Because again, they is us. Okay? No one's coming to save us. We're not getting, a magician, a fairy is going to come fix all these issues. We got to look at each other. And I know personally my days suck sometimes, but you can still give a little bit of your time towards something, towards one organization, one thing that you feel important, okay? I cannot wait for you to hear from newly appointed city manager, Mr. Brandon Roberts.
Dusty streets and fading signs, forgotten corners lost in time. But here we stand rebuilding dreams. Brookfield whispers like a stream. Hot air balloons up in the sky, floating free where spirits fly. Brookfield's rising, a great place to land. Blue pride runs strong in this heartland. Bulldogs bark, the bell game rings. This town's alive with a brand new spring.
Welcome back to That Stuff Matters, your small town podcast. podcast, and we're really trying to get to know all of the characters and what I like to call famous people in the local community. And we have our newest member to the Brookfield family, newly appointed city manager. Everyone meet Mr. Brandon Roberts.
Hey Nathan, how are you doing?
Very good.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, it's I'm just going to be honest with the guests. This is our second time
It
at
is.
this.
Redo.
So a little bit about that was we had a great episode, and Brandon did wonderful, and he walked out, and I lost all the files. So I'm glad that you took time out to come back.
It's all right.
So I'm just going to give a brief overview
Okay.
of you. So you went from serving as fire chief at Lake Ozark,
Deputy Fire Chief.
deputy fire chief. I apologize.
okay.
To you were deputy fire or fire captain at Kansas City,
Mm-hmm.
and then you your most recent position was with the Sunshine Law Outreach with the Attorney General.
Director of Sunshine Law Outreach, yes. The AG's
Golly,
office.
What a background.
Yeah. Worn many hats, right?
Yeah. So welcome to Brookfield, number
Thank
one.
you.
But with a background like that,
Mhm.
what sold you on becoming city manager of Brookfield, Missouri?
It was kind of a progression, right? So, I've been in public service my entire working life. So the public service route was naturally taking me to this, and in my education. But Brookfield had a very unique opportunity in the sense that it's a smaller community, and I like to see things get done, not just
Mhm.
having things in process. I like to see it actually happen. So when you're in a smaller community, you have more of like a hands-on approach to things with the community and stuff like that. So that opportunity, when it presented itself, I really wanted to take it. And here I am sitting here with you.
Well, I love that. And I would imagine that, as you've stated, in a public office, if you're in a large community,
Mm-hmm.
while you're making an impact, you don't see the direct results of that sometimes. just
Maybe
because
not
the
because
community's so big.
yeah, and you're so insulated too. There's so many layers to it before it gets to the top, right? So the insulation kind of could, prevent you from seeing actually what work is being done. And here, you're a smaller organization, smaller city, and you have a lot of hands. Me having a lot of things going on, I can actually have direct access to those things without anybody other than my department heads.
So that insulation's gone.
The insulation's gone for now. Yeah, I mean, as you grow, I mean that naturally is going to occur to where you need more help. But I mean, we're not there yet. So, but it really is a great opportunity for me to actually see that firsthand, the growth.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I like that mindset.
Hmm.
That's pretty cool. Um, I'm not sure because you currently live in Eldon.
Yeah.
Um, now I know there's a transition period there,
Hmm.
but what's kind of the difference you've seen from working at the Attorney General's office in Kansas City and where you're from
Hmm.
to Brookfield? Is
Hmm.
that small town vibe just a different feel for you?
Hmm. Yeah. So I lived in Kansas City my entire life. Grew up in Lee Summit and Kansas City Fire. So you get the hustle and bustle of the city, more
Mhm.
traffic. So there's a lot of political views there that you may not mesh with. A lot of tension. So I really didn't want my kids to grow up that way. So I kind of wanted to get them out, and these smaller opportunities have presented themselves. Smaller meaning smaller communities.
Mhm.
And I never got that chance to do that, to live in a smaller community. And I wanted to have my kids have that chance to live in a smaller community, more community impact, kind of being raised by the community, so to
Sure.
speak, right? Instead of being in a bigger city. So kind of, moving on to a smaller community really is something that my wife and I wanted to do for our kids.
Very cool.
So
How many kids do you have?
we have three. Two. We have 11-year-old son and two girls, 4 and 5.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's cool.
Busy.
You're in those fun years.
Yeah, I guess. Yes, very fun. They're very sassy. So the daughters are
Very active.
very. They're active. Oh yes,
Yeah.
they eat a lot, so they keep us busy.
I always reach that point where it's like I'm ready for school to start back up because I just don't know if I can keep stocking the shelves
Yeah,
alone.
yeah. My 11-year-old son, he's going to be a big kid, so he's always eating. So big,
Ah,
tall kid. So.
Well, I understand your pain there because I have 3 girls,
Mhm.
1 boy, but my boy is about 6 foot tall, 310 pounds.
Oh
So
boy,
he's
big kid.
yeah, big guy.
Yeah.
So you've worn a lot of hats. We've
Yes.
mentioned that.
Mhm.
From deputy fire chief to
Mhm.
Sunshine Law Director.
Mhm.
How have those roles shaped your approach to leadership?
So those are all in my mind leadership roles. I've always had an affinity to do that, to be a leader, right? They say that you can't learn how to be a leader; you're just naturally born a leader, which I don't necessarily believe. I had great leaders above me. A fire captain of mine, I worked for 12 years in Kansas City, was fantastic.
Mhm.
He showed me how to be a good leader, and I kind of followed his steps, and he mentored me that way. He may not say that today,
Mm.
but he did, and I really took that approach to anything that I did,
Very cool.
and just kind of that natural progression. I wanted to be a leader in the fire service, and I got that chance, and then I got my hands on the operational side of government because being in the fire service is still public service. It's government,
Mhm.
and saw some things that I didn't not necessarily like, but I just didn't see right, and I wanted to take my next approach with the attorney general, and specifically the Sunshine Law because it's Missouri's Open Records and Meetings Act, and I had a very hands-on experience with that with Lake Ozark, where I was the custodian of records. So each public body needs a custodian of record in the state of
Mhm.
Missouri. So I was familiar with it, and I was very passionate about it. And when I got to the Attorney General's office, I dealt with that on a daily basis, complaints, and I taught the Sunshine Law throughout the state. And those public bodies that I taught really gave me a wanting to be involved in like leadership roles with the municipality. So that's kind of just natural progression that way, in
Yeah.
my mind.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And we talked about the Sunshine Law and how
Hmm.
a lot of people know they hear that term, they kind
Yeah.
of know what it means, but I'll be honest, it can go over our heads.
Yes.
Um, you know, in a real quick summary, what is the Sunshine
I'll
Law?
try to give you a really quick summary, but you can't really summarize the Sunshine Law. It's the Open Records and Meeting Act of Missouri. It's very litigious, very long, very
Mhm.
convoluted. It's very old. It's 54. I shouldn't say very old. It's 54 years old. So if we're talking about society in general and progressing with society, it is old. But what the Sunshine Law is, it's the citizens, the constituents of Missouri, to hold their public bodies accountable,
Sure.
meaning that public records access, meeting access, and those public bodies need to follow that law to ensure that there's access for their constituents. So it's a very so James Madison talked about civic engagement to his letters to W.T. Berry. And if anyone wants to know what that is, I'm more than welcome to tell you. And then the Athenian model, which during the Athens, Greece, the Athenian model, and then various other levels of civic engagement have been talked about. So, and the Rotarian model. So,
Wow.
civic engagement is very important. That the Sunshine Law is the state of Missouri's vehicle for our constituents to hold us, the governments, accountable.
Okay. So I feel like you almost have to be a bit of a history buff to fully go through it and understand it,
No,
to go all the way back.
yeah, you may, but I mean, at the same time, it's just one of those things that has just because it was written in 73, and then it was a model after FOIA, and so the government, the federal government, didn't have anything, to hold them accountable as
Mhm.
far as public access to records and meetings and all that stuff since until 64 when
Okay.
LBJ signed the Freedom of Information Act into law. And then every state modeled their Open Records and Meetings Act after that. So, I mean, it's fairly new. It's a fairly new law for constituents to hold their public bodies accountable and that civic engagement avenue.
Mm.
So, I mean, you kind of think about it because during the Cold War, our governments were very secretive, and so the country was crying for something to hold their governments accountable, and that's where freedom of
Introduce.
that FOIA came into effect.
Well, I just your wealth of knowledge on all of the government topics that we've
Yeah.
discussed so
Hmm.
far is really cool. That you have became a city manager
Hmm.
here and an officer for this little local
Yeah.
government. So
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yeah.
interesting. Um, as far as your time with the Kansas City Fire
Hmm.
Department specifically
Hmm.
and Lake Ozark, right?
Hmm.
So I can only imagine the things you've seen and what
Hmm.
you've been through.
Hmm.
How did those experiences working directly through fire and tragedy?
Hmm.
How does that kind of roll into your views as a leader in the community?
Well, I think I have more of an understanding of people's bad days,
Uh,
right? So
mhm.
in the fire service, you see people at their worst, right? Dealing with the lost son, daughter, or their house burned down, or they wrecked their car, or whatever. So you see especially in Kansas City, there's a lot of poverty there. So you're dealing with, especially where I work in the inner city. So I had a firsthand experience with dealing with that and how it affected those people. And so you just bring that with you. I think that is a very important attribute to have,
Hmm.
because you've seen those experiences, so you can actually get a feel of exactly how your constituents could feel, because there's probably some poverty here in Brookfield.
Hmm.
There's some blight. So you, you have an affinity, not an affinity, but you have empathy and sympathy for those people, and it gives you more, um, I don't know, gumption to actually do something about it,
Yeah.
because you actually can, you actually felt it. So
Well, I'm a big fan of our fire department here,
yeah.
and I mean they are a great group of guys. But
Hmm.
I would definitely say that that's probably something that as you deal more and more with these hard days,
Hmm.
you do develop that empathy.
Hmm.
So that when a random encounter occurs throughout the city,
Hmm.
you are able to always step back and understand where that person's coming from.
Hmm.
What their problem is,
Hmm.
and while they may not um, be in a great um, attitude towards you,
Hmm.
you understand where they're coming from, and that way you can kind of help achieve their goal, but
Hmm.
also following the right protocols.
Right, right. It gives you a better understanding of where they're coming from.
Yeah,
So,
so very cool.
hmm.
I think I read. So
Hmm.
I just be honest. I just looked you up on LinkedIn. That's how
Oh,
I got
okay.
a lot of the information.
Okay, cool.
You attended Syracuse University.
I'm still there. Yeah. So at Syracuse University's Maxwell School of Citizenship and Public Affairs. A lot
Wow.
of words, but it's one of the top schools, public policy schools in the nation, if not the top school. And it took me quite a bit of time to get in it, and so I'm happy to be there, because when I talked about the Athenian model, Rotarian model,
Hmm.
civic engagement, that's exactly what they teach, is that citizenship and public affairs. So public affairs doesn't happen without citizenship. When I talk about citizenship, it's civic engagement, right?
Hmm. Right.
So to hold each other accountable, and um, that's that's why I went to that school, and it's fantastic, and can't wait to be done. Actually.
But I will throw in something that I learned about you was
Hmm.
while you're attending Syracuse, you are from that Kansas City area, and you're a Jayhawk fan.
I am.
We're not going to hold that
It's
against
all
you,
right.
but you're going to
Please
a
don't.
lot of Tiger fans
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
So we're all looking forward to the rivalry coming back
Healthy
this
rivalry. So
September
yeah.
6th. They're going to play.
Yeah. Looking
Um,
forward to it.
so one of us is going to have bragging
That's
rights.
okay. That's all right. Usually do.
Very cool. For people that are unfamiliar with the role, because
Hmm.
I think people hear the term city manager,
Hmm.
but they don't really know what does that mean.
Hmm.
So, in your opinion, your view, what does a city manager do?
Yeah, so in Brookfield, you have the council manager form of government, right? So you have your council, then you have the manager. So the council sets policy, enacts ordinances, stuff like that, and the city manager carries out those policies and ordinances based on the goals and visions of council.
Mhm.
And then also the city manager deals with the budget, right? So fiscal responsibility is a major role for the city manager. And then whatever that budget is, like for instance, right now, that's what I'm in right now is the budget, because our fiscal year starts in October 1.
Mhm.
So dealing with the budget, and then you present that to council and they approve it, or they work with it too. So and then the other part of that is it's day-to-day operations. So you're responsible for the make sure that your directors have what they need to get through their day, and just carrying out the policies for the council, what they set out, and the vision and goals that they have as well. That was a very big talking point during the interview process, is what their goals were, and we just happen to align. So that's why
Certainly.
I'm here.
So you're just working directly with the council. And how many council members are there? Just so everyone knows.
Five. It's five, right? It's
Oh,
five. It's
yeah.
five.
Yeah, I could name them, but
Yeah.
so you're working directly with that team,
Hmm.
and then of course, you have your team of all the
Directors.
directors out there. So
Department heads. Uh huh.
that's a really easy to understand way you put that. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
What? So I know it's early.
Mhm.
You just started July 1,
That's right.
so this is new.
Hmm.
But you're going through the budgeting time, so you're seeing a lot of stuff right now thrown
Hmm.
at you.
Yeah.
What are your short-term priorities for the first few months?
Well, so full transparency here. So Dana Tarpening, who's the current city manager, is still on, and
Hmm.
I'm incoming. So it was very cool that the city council was able to make that happen because it's very unique. That doesn't happen where a smooth transition because Dana's
Sure.
been here for 47 years
Wow.
and she's been here since 2000 as the city manager since 2013. So there's a culture there that some of those people that work for the city, that's all they know is Dana.
Hmm.
So to have that smooth transition and that culture change happen, you don't get that. So that's goal one is to do a smooth
Smooth.
transition
Yep.
come October 1. Goal number two is to there's some things that Dana wants to see get finished, her legacy, right?
Hmm.
So that's kind of helping her, like the Trex Taco Bell that's
Yeah.
getting ready to be built. So those are things that she wanted to do, and I just want to support her in getting those things
Very,
accomplished,
very
which
cool.
she is. And of course the budget, right? You want to be fiscally responsible. You want to have a balanced budget, so that does take some time.
Hmm.
So those are kind of like the near term goals that we've set out. And then when that budget comes in and we start talking to council about in our budget workshops of what they want to see, then I would be able to make out a plan for the next few months,
Very cool.
past October 1st. So
Yeah, I can only imagine the difficulty that would
mm,
be if there wasn't that transition period. If you just had to step in and
yeah,
take over and look through, what was left.
yeah.
So this is a really great opportunity.
Dana's been nothing but supportive. She's been fantastic, and I don't think that it'd be really hard to find that type of situation anywhere else. So
Yeah, and shout out to Dana
mm,
for all those years of service.
47 years.
That's a very long time.
Hmm.
Um, and I know this is going to be a tough one because you're still new.
Hmm.
Now we talked about that short term
Sure.
look.
Hmm.
In your view of Brookfield, what's a long term goal? I mean, what are things that need to be done here?
Yeah, so I've had some interactions with our citizens here, and I think the majority of them, if not all of them, have talked about the blight in Brookfield,
Hmm.
and we want to address that. And that's the long term goal is trying to figure out how to address those issues to get it cleaned up. Because if we clean up blight and we take care of that, and there's actually a a process in place to do that,
Right.
then there'll be businesses that want to come here and provide economic growth, right? So and provide opportunities for our citizens to work or
Certainly.
but so I mean that is one of my main goals right now is for this budget year is to address those issues, and I believe that's councils as well, either that through code enforcement or we getting together with those community programs like Lions, Elks, churches, the Rotary Club, um, getting together with them because community can actually help with a lot of the blight issue too.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I always say it's not going to be one person that solves all these
yeah,
issues, but so people understand that there are so many things around here that need cleaned up.
hmm
That there's
hmm
buildings that need attention
hmm
and work, and a lot of times people just wonder, well, why can't the city just do this? Why can't they just clean that up? Well, there's a lot of things that go into that,
yeah,
and there's money involved.
hmm
There's not an endless budget
hmm
for cleanup of things,
hmm
and there is a protocol, a code that you have to follow.
hmm
And I'm correct me if I'm wrong, but if there isn't a code established perfectly, currently, you have to work to develop a code
hmm
that you can enforce.
yeah, yeah. So I mean, there is a legal process that you have to go through for some of these issues that we're seeing in Brookfield that does take time, and we're trying to figure out ways to kind of speed that up because we do want to take care of it. And it is my hope that you'll start seeing progress here pretty quick.
Yeah, and it's a tough situation
It
because
is.
you never want to see the government come
No,
knocking on your door, as I
no.
think you've
Eh,
mentioned to me before.
Yeah, like I said, you may have some people that are living in a blighted area that don't have the finances to take care of it. So that's why I brought up the community organizations that
Hmm.
could help out. And I don't know if they've been reached out to, but I am now part of Rotary here in Brookfield.
Yeah,
So I got
exciting.
initiated this week. So that's something I'll bring to them to see if that's something they're interested in, and also reach out to the other community organizations to see if that they want to provide some blight relief, some revitalization efforts to take care of some of it.
Yeah, and Rotary is a cool organization.
Hmm.
I've had the opportunity to speak there a couple
Yeah,
times, and just so anyone that doesn't know exactly what Rotary does, because I didn't, it's a service-driven
yeah,
organization, and they're looking for avenues and ways to help
they
community.
are.
They provide shoes, I believe, is
Hmm.
one of their big drives that
Hmm.
they do. But a really cool organization that if you are service-driven,
Hmm.
they're always looking for
Hmm.
members.
Yeah,
So
come
reach
on.
out.
Service, service above self is what
There
the
you go.
motto is.
Yes,
So
I always forget that,
it's
but
all good.
I see that a lot. Um, man, so what's your plan to stay accessible to and engaged
Hmm.
with the residents? I mean, can they just come visit you in the city hall up there, or what's the best way to do that?
Sure. I mean, they can reach out to me. You can go to the city website. My email's there, so you can email me if you want to go get a cup of coffee or something. Just talk. We can do that. If you see me out, just come up and say hey. And for me, I got to hold myself accountable.
Mm,
I got to get out there and do things like this with you, Nathan. So, and just engage in that way. So, if you see me out and you want to talk about something, just come say hi, and I'll be more than happy to
very cool.
talk to you.
Very cool. What's something that you know I find Brookfield special,
Yeah.
but I understand that every small town thinks they have a historic downtown and
Hmm.
a special place, special feel. But maybe you have experienced it already. Are there things about Brookfield that you feel seem special?
Yeah. The main thing I've noticed about Brookfield, and this is no knock on any place I've lived before in my life, Kansas City, Eldon, Lee Summit, Blue Springs. The welcoming atmosphere I've had since I've been here has been fantastic. You get there's a really big sense of community here, a community that wants help
Mhm.
to accomplish their goals. Uh, And I think that there are a lot of people, if not the majority of people, that have the same goal. And that's very unique, especially when it's my goal. So, I mean, I am just excited to be here. And I think that's a very special attribute for Brookfield is just the sense of community.
Yeah, people can complain about
Yeah.
their hometowns or a
Yeah.
lot of different things. I've always felt like Brookfield and our other surrounding local
Hmm.
communities, when people are in need or an organization is in need,
Hmm.
they really come
They
together,
do.
and it's just fun to be a part of.
Yeah, give you a shout out real quick about your high school, and that's another special thing is how they at graduation they give a mailbox when you graduate to kind of say, hey, stay in Brookfield, or come back to Brookfield and raise your
Hmm.
family or grow if you got a business, bring your business here. I think that's very very cool. I've never heard of that before.
That's a very cool
Yeah.
presentation, and I think it's the area growth partnership maybe
Hmm.
that drives that.
Hmm.
But for anyone who doesn't realize what we're talking about, they provide a mailbox to every graduating student
Hmm.
as an open invitation to move back home. I've been fortunate; I've been able to speak at
Hmm.
those a couple of times, and actually, I spoke at one when my nephew graduated. And uh, something that drives me mad is I
Hmm.
think a lot of times there's a negative connotation with if you decide to move back home or if
Hmm.
you stay
Yeah.
home. Why didn't you leave?
Hmm.
There are much bigger and better places.
Hmm.
Yeah, there are. Um, but I've been a lot of places, and I feel like your hometown is often um, it's just a place that feels like home.
Hmm.
So when you give back to it, that spreads. So
Hmm.
that presentation is a one way that they
Yeah,
do that.
it's very unique and very cool.
Very cool.
Hmm.
Um, let's talk a little bit more about the Sunshine Law and
Okay.
how your work there went.
Okay.
So, what what steps do you believe a city government can take to earn trust from its citizens?
We had our first council meeting this week,
Hmm.
so they did very well. So as far as Sunshine Law goes, so they did great. So just continuing to be accessible and be accountable to your people. Um, that's really the Sunshine Law spirit, right?
Right.
Civic engagement, transparency,
Hmm.
and I believe, I believe, that we will continue to be very transparent with our constituents. And I think that my time at the Attorney General's office and dealing with Sunshine Law will give us everything we need to ensure that happens.
Yeah, I've always felt like they do a good job of really taking
Yeah,
everyone's opinions and being
yeah,
open.
yeah.
I hope that citizens always understand that while there may be a very pressing issue to
Mhm.
you, and
Mhm.
some of those things take time. You
They take
can't
that.
just
Yeah, you
get
can't
down and
enact it
work.
right at that second because we do have to follow statute, and that is the agenda, is the statute. And when we are engaging, or when citizens come into a council meeting, I want to make sure the citizens know this. When they come into a council meeting, they have something they want to say, and they say it, and the council just sits there and they listen. They're not being rude; they're following the law because they can't engage and enact policy based on the issue that you bring to the table, because they can't amend their agenda or enact any policy without posting it 24 hours in advance before another meeting. So if there's a very big issue that someone brings to our attention, then they would have to say, okay, we're going to table this for now, and then we're going to come back in 24, 48 hours to then address it. So just know, if someone comes to a meeting and they're talking and they feel like the council's ignoring them, they are not. They are taking it into consideration, I promise you. And then if there was something pressing, then they would address that very quickly, if not in the next meeting.
Yeah, and even the small organizations that I've been
Mhm,
a part of,
mhm,
and been president of a few,
mhm,
most of the time you need to hear these concerns and
mhm,
things that are being requested.
mhm.
Um, Take as much information as you
Yeah.
can. Then you have some separate, closed discussions about it and how to approach it.
Mhm,
And then you basically put it on an agenda for a future meeting
mhm.
to where everyone knows that we're going to discuss this and make a vote about it.
Right.
So
Right.
that's very common.
Mhm.
Are there any like practical things that we should expect that, or things that you may change as far as that you may do, like beyond just the council meeting? Is there going to be, I think I've heard you speak of maybe some workshops or something.
Yeah, so we discussed the blight. I know it's a big topic, blight. So the blight issue is going to take community support. It's going to take community effort, and I think that those workshops, either that just be me or a council member, just having the community come in and address the issue. Hey, how can we do this, and make a plan, and maybe that plan is a ballot measure, right?
Hmm.
And then you'll kill two birds with one stone doing that, because you'll get support behind a ballot measure to address the blight, and then also at that same time, everyone's creating a plan to address it, so that way the blight would be taken care of rather quickly
So
and with full support.
would that be something where you may even have a workshop focused on a specific topic that
Yeah.
allows you to kind of work through those and
Yeah.
then give an actual thoughtful presentation to the council
Hmm.
saying, here's our issue, here's how we want to approach it
Absolutely.
and change it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Hmm.
I think that would be great. Um, what excites you about working with Brookfield as far as the people that you've dealt with so far, the people up there in
Hmm.
your office?
What excites me about it,
Yeah.
again, I fall back on the community. I get up and I go to work, and I'm excited to, one, work with my peers,
Hmm.
and two, because they are part of the community and they have the same spirit that Brookfield does in community, and just getting up and coming to work excites me, because I get to be in part of the community, and I can't chalk it up any simpler than that.
Yeah.
It's a very cool community to work with, and they all are very passionate about wanting to get something done. And well, I'm here to see if we can't do it together. So.
Yeah, I've spoke about it often on this
Mm.
show. Is that I feel like there's some really cool characters.
Oh
I
yeah.
know up working in there in those offices, you've already probably met a few,
Oh yeah.
and they're just some good people, and they all have great
I believe you had
personalities.
one on your show.
Mr. Joel
Joel
Dixon,
Dixon. Yeah, he's a character.
he
He's
is.
good. He's a good man.
Yeah, that was our most watched episode so far.
Was it?
So
I bet.
yeah. Um, what are some ways that you want to build relationships not only with the people of the
Mm.
community, but the businesses, organizations, and schools?
Yeah, so we're gonna have to, reach out. So I haven't got to meet the superintendent yet for Brookfield
Hmm.
Schools. So I'm hopefully going to do that rather quickly. And then also just engaging with the community organizations like Chamber of Commerce, Main Street organizations, and just ensuring that everybody is aligning. We all may have different views on things, but just engaging with them to kind of express our goals to each other and see if we can't find commonality, and then address those commonalities full force. Because with that, when you have the full force of all those organizations that I just named, um, you're going to have a massive impact on the things that you want to get done.
Yeah. I'm going to bring it up because we talked about it on the
Yeah.
first recording, but something really cool you mentioned
Hmm.
was the possibility. We have some great trades programs out there at the
Hmm.
school. You also have the Grand River Welding right here
Hmm.
next to you.
Hmm.
So I feel like there are some schools that maybe could even assist with town issues.
Hmm.
So is that an avenue that you're going to
Yeah,
discuss?
it could be, and I think that's going to be a discussion with the superintendent to see what we can do as far as getting getting those students out to see if they want to help revitalization
Hmm.
with the blight again. If you have all these community organizations that have the same goal with the blight, and they all want to do something, especially the schools, the welding school, on their on their own dime, that would be fantastic for the city because you address it fast, and you address it without any taxpayer dollars being spent out of the budget.
Yeah, it could be a
It
win-win.
could be a win-win. Yeah, it's just going to take full engagement from me to get in there and start developing that process.
Very cool, and I wanted to make sure I brought that up. I
Yeah,
remembered
I'm sorry I forgot about that.
it. Man, I know you're new here, so you
Hmm.
probably haven't had the opportunity to attend any local
Hmm.
events. Um, have you heard of some local events that are specific to Brookfield that you're looking
Hmm.
forward to?
Yeah, I'm excited about the balloon derby.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that in the railroad days.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll be volunteering for that. So if you're down there, come say hi. About my kids are coming up, and we're gonna enjoy that weekend together. So looking forward to that. Hopefully,
That's
it's a good fly day. So
Yeah, you never know.
yeah,
It's luckily enough days that you hope you get a few good days in
yeah,
there. But there's just so much cool stuff to take in there as far as the night
yeah.
glows, and um, I've seen it, of course, through the years. As
Hmm.
far as we've had a lot of balloons, or
Hmm.
some years you have fewer. But recently, I feel like it's really been growing,
Yeah,
and it's so cool to see these colorful, beautiful balloons flying through.
yeah.
It's
I
pretty
heard a
amazing,
rumor through Rotary that there's going to be almost 80 balloons this year.
man.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't take that for word, but I thought that was the rumor that there'd be 77 something balloons there. So
That's that's
that'd be
fantastic.
cool.
Not only is it just fun to watch, that's
Hmm.
great for our community
Yeah.
because you got to imagine all the people that are
Oh, coming in.
flooding in
Yeah.
and they're going to these local
Yeah.
restaurants and the gas stations and the different
It's a
stores.
good economic time for our businesses.
Yeah. Another one, are you looking forward to the Bell game?
Oh, the Bell game. Yeah, that too. Yeah, looking forward to that.
So, in the year where you've grown up in the
Hmm.
schools, have you had these huge rivalries?
Oh yeah,
Um, have you heard about the Bell game as in comparison to other rivalries?
I know the Bell game is one of the top ones in the nation. Just know that I heard that on ESPN.
Yeah,
So,
USA Today had a rivalry competition,
hmm,
and they do it annually, or they did,
yeah,
and we won the first year
hmm,
of it. Um, the millions and millions of votes. We had students that would go out to the school
hmm,
and stay through the night
hmm,
and just sit there and vote.
hmm,
That was at both
yeah,
communities. It's just something to behold. I mean, on the wall there, you can see the bell
yeah.
laying on at the football
And that's
field.
cool. Yeah,
I I always tell people, if you haven't grown up here and you didn't experience it, um, you really don't know what to
yeah,
expect. And then the opposite end of that, if you have experienced it your whole life, you don't realize that we have something pretty
yeah.
special.
So I came from Lee Summit. So I went to Lee Summit North. So we had Lee Summit North and we had Lee Summit. So the old
Hmm.
high school. So Lee Summit North was a big rivalry, but it's not as big as what I heard the Marceline and Brookfield game is, the
Well,
Bell game. So
I mean, I can only imagine the attendance you have at stuff like that.
yeah,
But when you're taking these small communities that are sub 5,000
hmm,
people and you go to a game and
hmm,
it's just like standing room only,
yeah,
it just feels different.
yeah, yeah. I'm
So
excited to see that.
I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
that
you
for
play
you.
music there, right?
I
Do you
do.
DJ there?
I play music. I help spot for the radio.
Yeah.
So Jeff Elliott is making the call on
Hmm.
the radio, and
Hmm.
I tell him who made the tackle, so
Oh, cool.
he simultaneously will be talking on the radio, switch that mic off, grab a mic, announce at the game who makes the tackles, and while he does that, his brother starts talking on the radio, and they shut that off, and then he goes right back to the radio.
Oh, wow.
It's something to behold.
Yeah, I bet.
It's pretty cool. So, outside of work, what do you enjoy? Like, what are your hobbies?
So we have small children,
Hmm.
so we don't have a whole lot of time for hobbies. But when we do, we live near the lake. We're on 18 acres, uh, very it's full of timber. So we like to go out and hang out outside. We have I used to be, well, I am. I'm an avid hunter, right? So
Hmm.
always have been, but I haven't lived on acreage before. So now we live on 18 acres, and we feed deer. We have a deer feeder,
Hmm.
and now it's hard for me to want to go hunt deer because they're like my pets. So
Oh,
we enjoy doing that for our animals outside. We have two black labs, so we like taking them out, and I cook, so I like cooking for my family, and those are really the only hobbies I have time for. And reading a book, something on leadership or public policy, is something I like to do. So
very cool.
yeah,
So have you hunted up north?
yeah, yeah. I've used to hunt with some friends in Sumner off of Swan Lake,
Hmm.
duck hunt there. Been to Milan to hunt, St. Catherine to hunt, Bethany to hunt. I've hunted a lot up here. I've hunted a lot. I've hunted all over the state of Missouri. So
Wow. So you probably were drove through Brookfield at points in the past and never
oh
even
yeah, when you're
thought.
at Sumner, the only place to go is Brookfield if you want something to eat. And that's no knock on Sumner whatsoever, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I knew about Brookfield before I came here.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah,
very
yeah,
cool. You never know where life's going to take
yeah.
you.
You never know.
You said you like to cook.
Yes.
So what's your specialty?
Well, I would say smoking, barbecuing is, but
Hmm.
I think anyone could do that with a pellet grill. So I'm not going to say that's my specialty. Probably some type of Mexican food or something,
I love that.
or Italian food. So
I love that because I feel like we have two really great
you
Mexican
do,
restaurants
yeah.
here.
Tequila,
Uh,
was it Tequila
Tequila
Jalisco?
Jalisco
Yeah,
and Los
the
Chimos.
Chivas. Yeah, very good. Been to
So
both.
um, I don't know. I just have a special place in my heart for the restaurants
Yeah.
here, and I can't wait to get some feedback from you on how you feel about
So
that.
I've been to both. So last
So
time I
you
was
have.
here, I wasn't at Tequila Jalisco yet,
Uh-huh.
and I went there this week. So Taco Tuesday. It was very
Oh,
good. So
Taco
they're both
Tuesday.
very good. So yeah,
Very cool.
yeah.
Um, Speaking food, so
Mm-hmm.
like let's say if you could have dinner with any leader,
Mm-hmm.
past or present, who
Mm-hmm.
would it be?
I will get to do two because I don't want to take away from what we recorded last time.
Mhm.
So two. So one in the past would be Abraham Lincoln and his ability to see things in a different way that any I think human can to make a decision, and his ability to look at all sides of it. And then Abraham Lincoln was able to lead his country through serious division, the Civil War. So I would love to have dinner with him or lunch and figure out how he
Yeah, to
managed that,
navigate that.
navigate all through that. And then president would be Patrick Mahomes. So I think he's a fantastic kid. I mean, he's younger than me, so I call him kid. And the way he gets through adversity and has been the top quarterback since he started,
Hmm.
won 3 Super Bowls, has been to an AFC championship game every year he started.
It's incredible.
He's an incredible kid, and then not even on the field, off the field too. So he's got a he's got a family, 3 kids.
Hmm.
His wife and him own the Current. He's got some ownership in the Sporting KC and some
Hmm.
ownership in the Royals. So he has a very big presence off the field, and to carry that on the field, I would like to know, what drives him. So
Yeah.
it'd be very cool to understand what that is.
So you're a big Chiefs fan?
Huge.
I love it.
Going to Chiefs games since I was a kid. So
Oh yeah.
my parents had season tickets. So
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
So you've seen probably the best and worst of the Chiefs.
Oh God, yes. Romeo Cornell years.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, Growing up here, it's like you kind of gotta love the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I developed a love for the 49ers and the Chiefs, so you can kind of see I have
Yeah. I see that.
the contrasting styles. But
It's okay. I liked the 49ers when I was a kid too. So it's
well, I just grew up watching Joe Montana
yeah.
and Jerry Rice and Steve Young, and
Yeah.
I don't know, I just kept with it.
Best day was Joe Montana became a Chief.
That was a fun
That
time for
was
me as a
awesome,
kid.
man. That
Yeah.
was awesome. Yeah.
Oh, that's taking me back.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think we've kind of talked about it already,
Mm-hmm.
but as far as Brookfield being a special place
Mm-hmm.
for the people, do you kind of feel that already, and how people have interacted with you through council meetings and,
Mm-hmm.
and your dealings up at the office, and
Mm-hmm.
do you get that feeling from everybody that Brookfield's
Uh,
special to them?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, people are here for a reason, right? They haven't left. They're here. And they want to see Brookfield thrive. And I think that's a very special attribute to have as a community member. And I have not found anybody here that absolutely does not like being here. So if they did, they wouldn't be here, right?
Hmm.
But yeah, this is a very special place. And if anyone's interested in coming visit, visit during the balloon derby. Come on.
Yeah.
So,
Come on in.
yeah, come on in.
I find it really cool that you've taken your time out to come talk to us, but you're also like, just come up, talk to me, email me.
Yeah, I'll go coffee, whatever you want to do. Just if you guys want to, if the citizen will talk about something, just pat me on the shoulder and we'll go talk.
Now, understand he can't just snap his fingers and fix whatever is concerning you, but
I'll listen though.
That's important. That's the important part. You're being willing to listen. We always kind of get towards the end of our show, and we have a say it with your chest piece, and this really, it comes from my daughter. She'll get right into your face if you're talking to her and she feels like you're kind of mumbling. So this is something that you're really passionate about.
Okay.
So if you had to say something with your chest, what do you stand behind 100%?
Oh, if you haven't picked up on it yet, it's service before self. So that's a very big part of my life. It always has been since I was a kid, and it always will be. So I believe providing something to somebody else other than yourself is one of the greatest things that you can do, as while you're on this earth. So
it's huge.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, when I started this, I didn't know that was going to be my main focus of this podcast, but it really has been, because I feel there's such a need for it. And I think that's because a lot of people will complain about things they see, blight, organizations not having events the way they think they should, so on and so forth. And at the same time, they're not actually showing up and serving.
Right.
And you just don't understand how powerful 30 minutes, an hour, a couple hours a week, you can totally change the experience of a town. And we've got to get back to that. I know there are a ton of people in this town that are good volunteers, but if you really dive into a lot of the organizations, you'll find that it's the same 4, 5, 6 people that do it every year. And every organization needs as much help as we can get.
Yeah. I mean, for a community to thrive, it takes the community as a collective to make that happen. So it takes everybody to do something before themselves. And I think that's here. I think that's here. I think when one person does it, someone else will do it. And I think it'll just keep going down. So
yeah, it just, that kindness can just spread.
Oh, absolutely. It makes you feel better too about yourself. So,
oh man.
Yeah.
Really, I just can't thank you enough for coming back.
You're very welcome. I hope this one was as good as the first one. So.
You know what? I think it was. I really do. It's just hearing your vision for the community while it's in its infancy is really encouraging. It's exciting. Again, I love everything that everyone in the past has done. Don't get me wrong. But hearing some new takes on it, maybe some new things that we can introduce, that's excitement.
Yeah.
And I hope that the community hears us and they're excited. If you have an idea, feel free to reach out to him, talk. It's our town, but it's your ideas. And it's going to take us all if we want to keep making changes. Really, thank you, Brandon.
You're very welcome. Appreciate having me.
Yes, I'm going to let you get back to work.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully I'm going to leave you alone.
That's all right. If it happens again, let me know.
All right.
I'll be here.
Thank you, everybody. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Come back next week. You don't know who we're going to have on this show. If there's somebody you'd like to see, you got to message me. Let me know about them.
That stuff matters.